What is going on? As you can see, today we're going to be going over the Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG. I'm just going to play a few videos so you guys can understand what this car is all about. This is one of the nastiest sounding Mercedes engines they make. I know a lot of people are going to say the 6.2, the 6.2. I believe the M113K supercharged V8's literally one of the best engines Mercedes ever produced. We'll get into why in a second. You can hear this idle sounds crazy. And he's going to rev it at all. Waiting for it to warm up, I guess. Oh, I don't think any revs are coming, y'all. Alright, next video. Fair use, fair use. Alright, we got another one. This is going to be a rolling shot, so we can see what it sounds like on the outside, as well as what it looks like going down the road. So, as you can see, this car is very understated in terms of styling. A lot of people really think these cars are actually pretty ugly. You know, the front end isn't the best front end. However, I do think these cars are understated in a good way. But just listen to that noise. Insane. Alright. See an interior view and hear some of these this compressor sound. Fair use, fair use. You guys can tell me exactly what car this sounds like. Dang, okay. He was whipping that. And then the last video I got here, I got a dyno run. That way you guys can actually hear the engine being run out. Fair use, of course. Alright, is he gonna get on it? Come on. There we go. You guys can let me know what you think about the E55. Would you ever get one, or are they too ugly for you? That's the biggest point of contention for me, is the looks. It's not the ugliest car in the world, but again, it's not a very pretty car either. What is going on, y'all? On Run Cars, back again with another car buyer's guide. Today, as you can already see, we're going to be going over the Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG, specifically the W211. Just to clarify, the W211 also had a naturally aspirated 6.2 liter engine in it. That was for the later model years. We are going to be going over your model years 2003 to 2006. And so, yep, those are the model years that it came with the supercharged M113K V8 engine, 5.4 liter. And yeah, oh, I didn't even bring up a picture. Oh, that's what I forgot to do. E55 AMG. Let's look at a 2005 model. All right, let's pick out a good picture, y'all. Which one's a good one? That was a pretty good photo. Let's copy this. I did not set all this up. Apologies. As you can see, we're running a little bit late today, so some of the things I forgot to set up. Oh man, that's not big enough. Of course, being paint, you can't just redo something. You got to actually. Perfect. All right, cool. That works. So before we get into the car, though, announcements. If you haven't already, join my Discord. And I hope you join my Discord already, because today is the day I'm doing the drawing for the $50. So shout out to whoever wins this in a second. But yeah, if you want to win $50 in the future, not today, unless you join right now and you're live and you haven't joined. I see a couple people in the live. Shout out to y'all for being here today on this Friday afternoon. I know you could be doing other things, but you're here watching my car channel, which is pretty dope. So yeah, hopefully you guys have already entered, especially the ones who are here. because I'm about to do the drawing right now. Yep, so I guess this is for the future. If you haven't join Discord, and you are eligible to win 50 bucks in the future. I think that's it. Oh, don't forget to like the video. Do that real quick for me right now. Hit that like button. It takes about half a second. It helps me out. So I'll give you 2 seconds to do it. Give you some extra time. All right, cool. Thank you. All right, let's do the drawing. Let's get this out of the way. Who is going to win $50 today? I have everyone's names on this spinny wheel. So let's shuffle it a couple times. Make sure it's completely random. All right. Who is going to win the $50? Hold up. DJ Inferno, I believe you already won. Let's let me scroll through here. We got a lot to go over, or scroll back on. Oh, no, wait, hold on. Who am? Oh. Wait a minute. Hold on. Oh no, DJ Inferno. I guess you know what? We'll just keep it this way. DJ Inferno is the winner. Congratulations to DJ Inferno. I don't. Oh wait, no, yeah, DJ Inferno, you already. Wait, what? Okay, yeah, DJ Inferno won. For some reason I thought DJ Inferno already won, but he did not win. So, for the third time, DJ Inferno, congratulations, bro. I already have your message, I believe. I mean, your message. No, that's M. I got M's. Man, these names are kind of Mr. Right. I have that one. All right, let me just get this out of the way. I'm kind of confusing myself here. DJ Inferno, you are the winner. DM me. Cool. All right, shout out to you, DJ Inferno. People are already checking out. They're like, oh man, I didn't win. It's all good. You can win again. It's 50 bucks. You can win in the future. I'll probably do a drawing in the next couple weeks or so. Shout out to DJ Inferno. DJ Inferno actually is one of the few people that actually super chats, so I think he is very deserving of this. I would have also liked to see Jacob Black win because he's always in every chat except for today. But other than that, congratulations, DJ Inferno. And Jacob, I got you, bro, because you're always participating, even though you're not here right now. But I got you. You're gonna get something special because yeah, you're the one mainly running the conversations in the chat. So cool. With that out of the way, let's get on to the features, options, and problems for the Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG. Got a lot of stuff to go over today. So, starting off with the features, we're going from model years 2003 to 2006, as I mentioned earlier. It has the M113K 5.4 liter V8 supercharged engine. It uses a 3-valve setup, 24 valves total. And it uses a twin screw supercharger with 11.6 pounds of boost with peak torque at 2650 RPM. So super low for the peak torque. This is a very torquey motor, and this is one of the reasons why I love this powertrain so much. And one of the reasons why I think it's one of the best ones Mercedes ever made. Granted, there are some things that I don't like about it, but the way they designed it is perfect for what it is. This engine won International Performance Engine of the Year in 2003, so they already knew how good it was, but I guess it took a little bit for people to figure it out. These became really popular probably around like 6 years ago. Before that, people really slept on them. The car makes 469 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. That's an insane amount of torque. This car is super fast. I forgot to write down the weight. I believe it's around 4,200 pounds for the sedan and around 100 or 200 pounds more, like 4,400 pounds for the wagon. And tested, the wagon did 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds. That is insane. 4.1 seconds for a 2000 wagons came out in 2005. So 2005 car, 4.1 for a wagon weighing 4,400 pounds. That's how you know this car has a lot of torque. And it has so much torque that they actually had to use a 5-speed transmission. Mercedes actually introduced the 7G Tronic transmission, the 7-speed transmission in 2003, but they weren't able to use it for the E55 because the 7G Tronic could only handle about 550 pound-feet of torque, while the 5-speed that they ended up using can handle almost 800 pound-feet of torque. So again, this is why I think this car is so good, and why Mercedes really peaked with this car, is because they overbuilt this car. They don't really do that anymore. No car company really overbuilds cars like this one right here. Like, they overbuilt it in the sense where they knew that people were going to tune these cars, and they allowed the cars to be tuned. They didn't, they didn't have any weak points. It was over-engineered, overbuilt, something that Germans used to do a lot, and you really rarely see it in today's day and age with the cars. Yep, this was probably one of the last one of them to be built like this, and yep, that's why they're so desirable today. They are rock solid 20 years later, which is expected of a car like this. It's literally a German muscle car. So some features that the AMG, or the E55 AMG, has over the standard W211 S-Class, E-Class. So AMG tuned aromatic suspension. This is going to be standard with all the models. This came with 3 different drive modes that allowed you to adjust the height as well as the stiffness of the suspension. It also came with Brembo brake standard, 6-piston front and 4-piston rear, I was about to say rotors, calipers. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of unique features. Now we're going to get into the model year changes. So for 2003, no 2003 model has a nav screen, so they were all equipped with just the basic Mercedes like digital readout. And no 2003 model has a spare tire. Not really expected on high performance cars, but spare tire on a luxury sedan is pretty necessary. So 2003 ones came with a fixed flat kit. You're going to have to get it flat bedded. 2004, they equipped basically in 2003, the paddles, they weren't functional unless you were in the manual mode. And in 2004, they updated the system so that the paddles can be used whenever, and it will shift you out of the automatic into the manual mode. Whenever you hit the paddles, we're used to that on cars today. That wasn't the case with the first model year of the E55, but in 2004, they added that. They also added the smart lighting system standard. So this was turning basically the headlights when you turned. So active headlights, I guess you can call them. They also received the nano ceramic paint. I don't know what this is really, but apparently it's a good thing. It is a high quality paint option or job. I don't really know, man. So nano ceramic paint, you guys can tell me what that is. TPMS was optional. This was before it was made. You know what? I'm running into too many hiccups when I'm talking. I'm just going to keep reading this. TPMS was optional. Aux input was standard. In 2003, the aux input was not there. And then additional engine oil cooler was added for 2004 model, and then it had an upgraded differential. 2003 had and early model 2004s had the earlier version of the differential. It was a lot less beefy, and then they upgraded it in 2004 and on. What else? In 2005 to 2006, these kind of were like a group of upgrades. They happened in 2005, and then 2006 didn't really have that many. So it's kind of like the 2005, 2006 ones are their own group, and then 2003, 2004 are their own group. Just think of it like that. So the 2005, 2006 models had basically, so I wrote this kind of strange because I put some of the options that they didn't have, and then I also put options it does have. In 2003, 2004, if you got the panoramic roof, you were able to get a solar panel as well. So that solar panel was on the roof, and it powered your vents while you weren't in the car, so it could keep the car relatively cool while you weren't in there. That was ditched for 2005, 2006. What you'll find is a lot of options were actually ditched for the 2005 and even more for 2006. And these options were like kind of weird. They weren't really, I guess, things people wanted that much. That's why they were comfortable dropping them. So that was the solar panel. They also dropped the rest function for the AC. I think that was the same thing that had to do with the solar panel, I believe. They also dropped like this extra filtering system that was on the interior. It was like the charcoal filtering system. It just has a regular interior filter. And also the TCU, I'll skip ahead. The TCU was not able to do burnouts for the 2005, 2006 models. It was upgraded to be a little bit more safe, a little bit more, to keep the car more in check and handle the car better. And so it wasn't able to do burnouts. So a lot of people actually switch in the older TCU, transmission control unit, from 04, 03 models into their 05, 06 models. So they're able to do those burnouts because, of course, these cars are super fast down the drag strip, and that's where a lot of them find themselves at. So if you can't do a burnout, why are you even there? Another thing that differentiated the 2005, 2006 models from the 03, 04 models is that it got an upgraded speedometer. Now it has a 200 mile per hour speedometer, where before it was a 160 mile per hour speedometer. What's interesting is that in the foreign markets where they use kilometers, it was always 320 kilometers. However, when they introduced the E55 to the United States with supercharger. They made it a 160 mile per hour speedometer just in case people decided to delimit their cars. They didn't want people to be encouraged to delimit their cars, so they kept it at 160 because these cars are factory rated at 155 miles an hour, so they kept it at 160. However, as time went on, they figured it would sell better with a 200 mile per hour speedo, and that's what they did. Also, they upgraded the suspension. So the suspension now is being carried over from the CLS, a little bit more of a sporty car. So the suspension was carried over from the CLS. Also, that on top of that, included a steering rack. So the steering rack from the CLS was also included with the 05, 06 models for the E55, and this was a quicker rack, so it was more engaging to drive. You also have an upgraded supercharger clutch that was a little bit smoother to operate. Upgraded intercooler pump. This car has an intercooler that obviously takes the hot air from the supercharger, cools it down before it gets to the intake. This is powered by an electric pump, and for 04, 03 models, this electric pump was prone to failure, and so on the 05, 06 models, it was upgraded. However, you do find a lot of 05, 06 models that still are susceptible to this intercooler pump failure, so it's not really a fix. Aluminum paddles were also added for aluminum pedals, I believe I meant to say, were added for 2005, 2006, but you will see those on pretty much every car because, or every model year of car, because those were a common aftermarket upgrade. You also had the sliding center console. Before, in 2003, 2004, the center console opened up like this, kind of like a hatch, whereas with the 2005, 2006 models, the center console actually slides open. There's like a little roof that it slides over. Just some little things. Also, the wagon was added in 2005. This was highly desirable. In fact, I couldn't even find a single wagon for sale. That's how desirable they are. But if you are looking for one of these, just keep that in mind that there is a wagon version 2. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the features. Not really too much changes. The model range for this car is very short, and there aren't that many for sale. Just literally like a handful. I'd say on each site, there's probably like 5 to 10. It's not that much at all. So we're probably going to go over a majority of the E55s for sale in the country right now today on this show. But before we get into all that, let's go over the options and problems. We'll start off with the problems. Options last. That way we can move on straight into the ad. So I just want to point out that this car is actually not that unreliable. It has some faults that are specific to it. But again, these cars are super overbuilt. You're really not going to push this car to its limit at all, unless, you know, you take it to a track or something, but most people aren't. So what also you'll find is a lot of these cars are going to be in really good condition because they, well, not only are they super rare, but people really baby these cars in terms of they wanted to keep them perfect because of how special they are. So if you find one that's been beat, then you probably should avoid that one because it's pretty, it's an anomaly. Anyway, problems for the 03 model. No, I did say this already. For the 03 model, they had a coolant / transmission fluid mix issue, and this was caused by a faulty radiator. So the transmission fluid will go through the radiator, and the coolant would also go through the radiator, and sometimes those seals where they meet, because obviously the coolant is taking the heat away from the transmission fluid, and so they're going to pass by each other in the radiator at some point. However, the barrier might be corroded and it can lead to the fluid mixing. That is never good. You never want to have oil and coolant mixing. You also want to check for rust, specifically around the wheel arches, the front spring perches especially, and just the general underbody. When you're looking at these cars, you want to make sure that you find, well, you find basically a seller who actually takes pictures with the car up in the air. But obviously, if you can't find that, you have to get a PPI. These cars aren't too expensive, so maybe you don't exactly have to get a PPI if you know what you're looking at. However, I just always recommend getting that because it'll just save you a bunch of money in the long run. You always at least come even with the PPI because you're able to negotiate on the faults of the car, and you're able to know them for a fact, not just guessing based on what you're looking at in the parking lot. You also have crankshaft position sensor failures. This can cause, you know, a car not to start right. It can cause a long start. It can cause a rough idle. You just want to make sure that the crankshaft position sensor is good. If it's not, it'll throw a code. You'll be able to read it. You'll know immediately. It's not a hard problem to fix. The oil level sensor seal leaks sometimes. It's not a huge problem, but it is a problem sometimes. So just leaks in general, you want to make sure that you're taking care of. This is a high-strung supercharged V8. You really don't want to have oil being slung everywhere in this really hot engine bay. You're going to start smoking and burning things. It's not a good way to go. You also have the intercooler pump failure. This is what I mentioned earlier. This was updated in 2005 and 2006. However, it didn't really change too much with the car. You have the gearbox cooler pipe corrosion. So basically the gearbox cooler, transmission cooler, the pipes corrode. This is what I was talking about earlier. Again, it still happens with the later models, but just not as much. You have aromatic issues. It could either be strut issues or the compressor failure. Is usually going to be a compressor failure for this aromatic system. You also have harmonic balancer failure. So the harmonic balancer is this thing that's in the supercharger. It takes the motion from the belt and translates it to the lobes. The problem is with an engine, if you haven't really noticed, it's not a complete even torque for the whole spin. It's like I don't know how to describe it, but it's not even. And so the balancer actually acts like a clutch, like a spring almost, to make sure that the motion that's being translated into the supercharger is nice and consistent, or else you're just going to have a weird, like it's going to like surge and not really be efficient. So the harmonic balancer, if that is rattling, if you hear some rattling in the supercharger, it probably means your harmonic balancer has failed. And yeah, you want to make sure that is fixed. You also want to make sure that the pulley bearings are good on this car. I've seen that basically the pulley bearings can mess up the harmonic balancer. Also, if your pulley falls off or something like that, it can actually damage the timing chain cover, which or the timing cover. I'm not really too sure which part of it's like right there in the V, so you could damage that area. And then you can actually damage your timing system if something breaks off your supercharger just because they're in close proximity. You also want to make sure the engine mounts are good. Again, this car has so much torque that the engine mounts are going to be some of the first points of failure, simply because they have to deal with so much twisting force. You can get solid mounts for these cars. Granted, that's going to lead to a lot of vibrations in the cabin. I really wouldn't recommend that. However, of course, your solid mounts are going to last a lot longer. You want to make sure that the engine just isn't lurching about in the engine bay when you're hitting the gas. And then finally, they had the brake control module recall, the SBC pump. This was a brake-by-wire system, I believe, that they developed early on in the early 2000s for Mercedes, and there was a recall. Just make sure that the brake is good and it has good brake feel. But they've said, people have told me, I'm not a big like brake feel, brake pedal. It is what it is. People say like it's really bad. I just think it's regular, but to each his own. You have to really test drive these cars to really understand what they're all about. So let's move on to the final section, the options section. We got a few options here to look out for. A lot of people will say their cars are fully loaded, but they're not. So I'm going to give you exactly every single option that you'll be able to look for on these cars, and you'll know whether or not they're fully loaded or not. So first and foremost, you're going to be able to pick your exterior paint. There's a ton of different colors for this car, but you're mostly going to see them in silver and black. Obviously, it's a Mercedes. You're going to have your interior leather color. You're either going to have like a white or a black leather, one or the other. Interior trim is either going to be like a bird's eye maple or a burl walnut, something like that. It's either going to be a light wood or a dark wood. You only have two choices. And then here are your options that you want to look out for. Again, you don't have to have all these options. However, if someone says it's fully loaded and it doesn't have everything here, then you know it's not fully loaded. Distronic radar cruise control. This is a big option that no one ever gets. You never see it on any of these cars for some reason. And that is what usually stops the car from being fully loaded. So distronic radar cruise control is an option. It can allow you to switch the distance in between you and the car in front of you. And it's pretty cool. And I mean, I always like the old radar cruise controls. It's just cool technology. You also have Parktronic parking sensors. You'll be able to tell a car is Parktronic because it will have the little dimples in the bumpers. This one you can see does not have the Parktronic. Manual rear window shades. So this is going to be the rear window. You can put up and put down the shades. Simple. You also have active ventilated seats. So this is going to be cooled seats for the front seats. Panoramic sunroof. Again, this is going to be you're going to have two roof sections, and one is going to slide over the other, and it also makes the entire roof black. So if you have, a white car, the black looks cool. It's nice color contrast. Drive dynamic seats. So this is going to be your massaging seats. You'll see a little controller right next to your thigh, right at the like on the thigh support of the seat. That's where you can see if the car has the drive dynamic seats. TPMS, you know what that is, tire pressure monitoring system. Navigation system, again, for 2003 cars, none of them came with nav except for the Presidential series, which was a special series of the E55 that was made for like executives or something like that. Basically, this car, the presidential series E55, had nav, and instead of the wood trim, it had carbon fiber trim, which is pretty cool. I don't know why they didn't offer that for the rest of the lineup, because carbon fiber trim looks way better than any wood, in my opinion, especially on a car like this. But yeah, that was just yeah, no, the nav system is only in a 2003 presidential, not any other 2003, but 2004 and on, they did have a nav system available. You also had a power rear sunshade. The side shades for the rear passengers are manual. The rear sunshade in the back window is going to be power. You also have the comfort package from 03 to 04. We'll get into that. I got the brochures, so I'll show you guys exactly what all this stuff is. You also have the bi-xenon lighting package with active curve illumination. So we can't really see it in this one, but if you actually look at the headlights of the E55, if it doesn't have the bi-xenon lights, the headlight is flush in the housing, but inside the housing, if you have the bi-xenon lights, it actually sticks out like half an inch from the housing. I'll show you guys that too. It's easy to see. You also have options for the Harman Kardon Logic 712 speaker system. The stock speaker system has 9 speakers. I highly suggest getting a Logic 7 system. They're all really good. You also have the 6-disc CD changer, electric trunk close. You also have keyless go with push button start, which is also a highly desirable option. This not only allows you to, you know, get in the car without the keys. You can just walk up to it. It's a proximity key. You can open the door like that, but it has a start button on top of the shifter, and that is pretty cool. Finally, you also have the Dezino editions. So for the E55 AMG, you have Espresso and Graphite. Espresso is going to be that light color Dezino interior, and then Graphite is going to be the dark color Dezino interior. Cool. If you haven't liked the video already, hit that like button. We're here on a Friday. It's late, and I'm still getting this out to you because I knew that, you know, I had a lot of stuff to do today, and I was actually not going to do it, but I was like, you know what? We have to. We have to. It's the E55. It's Friday. We have to do it. So hit that like button real quick. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit that bell notification. I stream every weekday, so you'll always have new content. Yeah. Actually, hold on. Quick announcement. I'm gonna grab something real quick. So, just quick announcement. I want to show you guys something. I got this really cool new camera. A Sony ZV E10, if you know what that is. It's like a beginner vlogger camera, but it shoots really nice 4K, and yeah, it's actually a real camera, my first real camera. And so I'm gonna start actually shooting all the reviews that I have planned. I mentioned yesterday I have like 5 cars lined up. They're regular cars, but the reviews are gonna be good, trust me. But yeah, more IRL content coming, because I know you guys get bored of me sitting in front of a screen all day. Cool. All right, let's move on to the ads. Actually, no, we have to do the brochures first. Let's do the brochures and then we can do the ads. So here we have a 2004. So I'm just going to show you 2004 and then a 2005, because of 2004 and 5, that was where the model years changed a little bit in terms of the options. So we can see here the options for Burl Walnut or Black Bird's Eye. I like Black Bird's Eye the best, but of course that's up to you. And then for 2003, 2004, you were able to get the comfort package. So this came with active ventilated front seats, drive dynamic front seats. So basically this had the inflating side bolsters. When you go around turns, the side bolsters actually inflate to keep you in your seat. I saw this first on the E60 M5. However, this came out before then, so this actually beat it to it. It also has massage features as well for the comfort package. I believe this stuff became standard after 2004 because this package was dropped. What else can we see here? Yep, and then down here we see the Espresso and the Graphite editions for the Dezino editions. You can see Espresso has a charcoal interior with Dezino sand, Napa leather, and brown poplar wood trim, and then the Graphite one is charcoal interior with Graphite, Napa leather, and brown poplar wood trim. Highly suggest getting the Dezino cars because they're super rare and they hold their value really well, but you're not going to really find too many of them, especially given that this car really doesn't have that many for sale. Let's see what I can find in terms of just showing. I want to show you guys some examples of like the interior and stuff like that in terms of the colors, but of course they don't want to actually show any colors. This is a German sheet, so it's all about the facts. Colors don't matter. You'll pick a color. It's just a color. That's how Germans see it. Oh wow, hold on. I was looking at the same thing. All right, do we got colors in this one? Nope. I feel like I'm skipping it though. It has to be here somewhere. But just know that all the colors are going to be Mercedes executive sedan colors. So black, grays, light blues, silvers, maybe some browns. There's also some interior colors. You can get the all black interior. See this one right here? It is a black and blue interior. You could also get a black and red interior. However, the blue one and the red one are super rare. You're really just going to see black. That is going to be the most popular one. But other than that, that pretty much wraps up the options. Let's just get to the ads. We got a ton of ads to go over today, and it is 6:30. It is getting late, so let's get to it. All right, we got this. So first on Facebook, the first place we look at ads, we have a 2003 example. This one is going to be here we have a 2003 example. So first model year of the E55, they're asking 16,000 and it has 150,000 miles. What you're going to see with these cars a lot of the time, or a lot of these examples are going to have high miles. So don't get deterred by the high miles. I mentioned this at the top of the show. This car is super reliable and overbuilt. So it's meant to last a long time. And the mileage, as long as it wasn't beat, doesn't really, you can see these cars over 200,000 miles. It's a 5-speed with the supercharged V8. It's not gonna break like that. Let's see. Any interior pics we can see underneath? No rust hardly at all. This looks pretty good. On top, we can see it looks pretty stock. Nothing really going on here. Interior, we have the light wood trim. No Distronic Plus. We don't have any nav, but this is a 2003, so no nav was available. See the back seats look pretty clean. And you can see it's on some SL65 wheels apparently. So not a bad example. This is one of the higher mile ones, but we'll see what we can do with price. Let's see what he has to say in terms of condition. Car has 0 mechanical issues and runs and drives amazing. The car sits on $5,000 SL65 wheels. The car has headers, upgraded injectors, larger crank pulley, 92mm Hellcat throttle bodies, custom tune, transmission tune. Cosmetically, the car has a carbon front lip spoiler and side skirt extensions. Oh yeah, fun fact. The company that makes the superchargers for these cars actually makes a supercharger for the Hellcat. So it's another Mercedes Stellantis overlap there. But yeah, let's see. Not really too much going on in terms of pictures. I can't really tell too much on the condition. But we'll just grade it off of this. I'd say for it being this a 2003, and you don't really see that many options. Of course, being a 2003, you're not going to have nav, so it's not going to be fully spec'd. However, it has pulleys, it has headers, it has upgraded throttle bodies, a custom tune and everything. I'd be willing to go up to $14,500 for this one, simply because it is very clean. It has these wheels. These wheels are expensive. If they are legit and real, they are very expensive, so I'll give him that. Hopefully, he has the original wheels. But again, this one's pretty clean for 150, and I think 14 grand with the upgraded crank pulley and headers. Yeah, headers alone is going to be a couple grand. And then you have the upgraded pulley, you have upgraded throttle bodies, tune, transmission tune. Yeah, 14.5. I will go up to this. I think that's about the max I go though. Cool. Moving on to our next example. We have a 2006, so last model year E55 AMG. This would be the one that people want. We can see off the bat, it does not have the bi-xenon lights, but it does have the parking sensors. You can see that in the bumper. We can also see it's on some aftermarket wheels. Not really a fan, but you can also see that it is also lowered. It is pretty much slammed actually. Scrolling through the photos, you can see it's been set up for someone who doesn't have the ability to drive, which is pretty cool. You rarely ever see that. Is rarely a combination of really and barely? You rarely. I think that is it. I think I figured that out. Anyway, this one is in 2006. As we can see, it has the upgraded nav. Well, not upgraded, but it has nav, period. It is a light wood trim, though. Not really a fan. We can also see it's 2006 because it has the sliding center console. Looking here, we can see the Parktronic button on the right-hand side, but no Distronic. The Distronic buttons would be right here. We can also see it as keyless go. So a good amount of options here. Let me actually bring up something real quick. Yeah, let me just bring up these options just in case. We don't see any rear window shades, but we do see it has the panoramic roof, which is pretty cool. That's actually a pretty good option to have. It's a 2006, so you're not gonna have the solar panel, but the panoramic roof is there. Let's see if they show the speakers. You can't really see the speakers. Not too sure if it has the carbon I mean the Harman Kardon speaker system or not. Let's see what he has to say. Eurocharge ECU tune, Evo Sport, 168mm crank pulley, long tube headers, X pipe, no cats, no resonators. So really loud. FabTech intakes, stock intakes will come to the car. Frozen boost heat exchanger, Johnson intercooler pump, Gates HD green supercharger belt, UPD 5-piece idler pulley set, AEM AFR gauge, carbon fiber front lip, side skirts, rear bumper extensions, roof spoiler, trunk spoiler, white LED dome light, gross. STR wheels, gross. Let's see. AMG center caps, lowered suspension with star. So I guess they lowered the suspension with the Airmatic. They just used the controller to change it, which is what a lot of people are going to do until the Airmatic stops working. Then they just probably swap it over to coilovers. So this car having a ton of mods and being a last model year, it has 125,000 miles. So not the lowest amount of miles, but I've seen higher. They're asking 20 grand. That seems like a lot though. I know it's 2006 and it has a bunch of aftermarket performance upgrades, but $20,000 is just way too much for me. I'd be more comfortable being around the $17,000 mark for this example. Cool. All right, moving on to our next one. We have a 2005. This one is going to have 161,000 miles, so a little bit higher than the last one we looked at. But again, as I mentioned before, look at the interior of this car. This is 161,000 miles. This car looks immaculate. Not even that many creases on the seat. Just these early Mercedes interiors were just so good compared to them now. It's just crazy. But yeah, we can see this one does not have keyless go. This one does not have the Parktronic. It has nav. This is 2005, so it's a later model year. It should have at least something. We can't really see what's going on here in the rear center console. Let's see what he has to say about the car. Clean title, very well maintained and looked after. Great condition, lots of tread on tires. Full maintenance history folder available. Okay, so that's good. You always want to make sure that the guy has a full history, or girl. No panoramic roof. No panoramic roof here, but you do have the power rear sunshade. No side manual sunshades though. This is kind of a mixed bag of options here. You know, you can take it or leave it. It is a 2005, so you are going to be getting the technically better car because it is a 2005-2006 model. However, a lot of people debate that, saying the earlier models are more fun because you're able to do a lot more things. They also had more options as well. 18 grand they're asking for 161,000 miles, and it really doesn't have any type of performance upgrades, which is good, but again, it would have to be fully stock and fully up to date for it to trump having all those upgrades that other cars had, which I think it does because it says full maintenance history of folder available. I say for me, being that this is a 2005 with 161,000 miles, I'll be willing to go up to $16,000. Cool. Moving on to our next one, we have a kind of like a champagne color one. You can see it's not on the stock wheels either. But I mean, the wheels don't look that bad. They're just a little bit too like round right here for me. Not really a fan of that. Let's see. Scrolling through the photos, let's see what the interior got. Off the bat, we can see it has a panoramic roof because the roof is all black. Interior, we have the light wood. Let's see the gear shifter. We do not have keyless go on this car. We also do not have any parking sensors and no nav. This is 2003, so again, no nav was standard. Let's see. We have some vents back here, the climate control back there. I'm trying to see if it had the massaging seats. It does have the massaging seats. So it does have the comfort package. So comfort package car right here. Look how many miles this car has. 250,000 miles. And take a look at this interior. You have one tear right here and maybe somewhere on the bolster. But 250,000 miles on this car. This is like a Lexus at this point. I'm so impressed that it made it this far. Let's see what he has to say. Clean title, very well maintained, run strong, have a lot of receipts and replaced parts. No rust, polished, and ceramic coated. Don't forget the car is 21 years old. Yeah, I mean, I highly recommend shooting a shot on this car. I mean, it's lasted the test of time and it's in pretty good condition. Like everything looks like it only has 100,000 miles. This car, 250,000 miles. I'd be willing to go up to 8 grand for it. I think 8 grand would be good if it's simply like completely taken care of. 8 grand. You know, a lot of people would try to go lower than that, but I think 8 grand would be fair because you got to give this car credit for being this, for staying on the road this long. You can see this car actually does have the bi-xenon headlight package. You can see how the light fixture sticks out from the frame. This is internally, it's not sticking out from the actual body, but the actual headlight housing is not flush with the back of the headlight area, I guess. It sticks out a little bit. You can see it a little bit here. Cool. All right, so They're asking 12 grand. I said 8 grand. Moving on to the next ad. We have another example. Wow, I need some coffee or something. I'm feeling slow right now. Here we have a 2004 example. This one is also going to be in that champagne color. We can see it has the bi-xenon headlight package off the bat because the lights stick out a little bit further out of the housing. Scrolling through, interior, we're going to have that light wood, no keyless go here. You can see this one does not have the panoramic roof either. It simply has the standard roof. We can see though this one has a very unique interior color combo. This is going to be that black and blue combo, very rare. The other rare combo is going to be the black and red combo, but again, those are super hard to find. Usually they're going to be all black or they're going to have the Xeno interiors. We can see this one also has the Harman Kardon system, so upgrade here as well. Lots of good options in this car. We got the nav system, first of all, 2004. We also have the HID by Xenon headlights. We also have the blue interior. What else can we see here? Harman Kardon system as well. So this overall is a really good vehicle. 133,000 miles. Let's see what he has to say about it. Hello Marketplace. Up for sales, a 2004 E55 AMG with 130k miles on a vehicle. As rare two-tone black and blue interior. Comes with 2 keys, blah, blah, blah. Has extensive records. Okay, that's good. I mentioned earlier, a lot of these cars are people's garage queens. That's why I kind of like looking at these, because a lot of them are in really good shape and they always have the maintenance. So basically he gives a rundown on the recent maintenance. Fresh brake pads and rotors, oil filter, and brake fluid flush, valve covers just resealed. Okay, I'm not sure what a resealing of a valve cover is. They change the gaskets or just kind of reseal the edges? Sounds like they just resealed the edges so it will stop weeping. Rear air springs just replaced with R-knots as well, or R-nose, as well as ride height calibration and adjustments. Okay, so rear air springs are good to go. Front struts done about 20k miles ago, so new struts all the way around. All 16 spark plugs. Again, you got to remember this car has 2 spark plugs for cylinder, so all 16 spark plugs were replaced with fresh NGK. Hopefully they run good. I've purchased NGK that happened to be fake, and it messed up my car, and I had to get all new spark plugs again. So just food for thought. Transmission service done at 100k. Title in hand, 16k OBO. So it's going through again, pretty rare spec, especially with the blue interior, but it is a 2004, so. I mean, that could be a good thing. A lot of people favor the 2004s because you get more options and you have the more easy to work with TCU. So 2004 could be desirable to the right person. They're asking 15 grand and it has 133,000 miles. I say for me, they're not too far off because it is kind of a rare spec and it has some really good options. But for me, I'd be willing to go up to $12,800 for this car. Cool. Shout out to the 3 viewers in the chat. What is going on, y'all? Y'all are quiet today. No one has said anything today. I guess I'm doing such a good job that you guys just have nothing to say. You're just sitting back in awe, just watching me just perform up here. So thank you. Moving on to the next ad. We have a black example. This one has 155,000 miles and it is a 2006. So last model year of the E55 AMG. Scrolling through, we can see it's on some aftermarket wheels. I really don't like them, but if it had the original wheels, I wouldn't be opposed to considering this car. I do like the black. The black on black is always going to be a top spec for me. Looking on the interior, we can see that this car also has an aftermarket screen. So not really that desirable, along with the light wood. You can see here, it doesn't really look like it has park distance control either. Can't really see much here, but yeah, aftermarket screen. They couldn't even really color match the housing or the bezel it sits in. Doesn't look good to me at all. You can see the glorious 5.4 liter supercharged V8 looking pretty clean as well. But yeah, black car. If you can find the original wheels, that'll be a plus. However, I'm not really too worried about that. These wheels don't look that bad. So here we have a 2005 E55 AMG, black on black, just about to hit 155k on the odometer. The car is basically stock aside from the following: 19-inch AMG wheels. So I guess these wheels came from another AMG, not too sure which one. The E63 front bumper. As you can see, this front bumper with the side holes right here, these gills are characteristic of the E63, the car that came after this one. Previous owner just had the SBC module replaced before I bought it and always had it serviced at the dealer. So has that big issue taken care of. Aromatic struts were also replaced 3 years ago. The cons: the driver and passenger seat bottom is worn. Let's take a look. That's what they call worn. That looks pretty amazing in my opinion. It doesn't look that bad at all. I mean, I guess it does look a little bad for 155k miles when some of these had 200 plus and the seats look better. So I see what he means by that, but overall, it doesn't look that bad. We can see on the passenger seat, though, there is 2 cuts. That is not good. Those are going to be hard to repair. I didn't really see any cuts on this one, though, but there might be a cut right here, something that's hiding in the way the picture is taken. For me, though, being that this car is 155,000 miles and it's a last model year, it's in not the best condition. It's a little rough, but you know, that's always good. That's kind of what I want. I like the rougher cars because I'm able to fix them up a little bit, and you can get them for a really good deal. I'd say for 155, I'll be willing to go up to $11,000 for this car. Cool. And moving on to our last example on Facebook, we have another black on black example. This one, however, is going to be a 2004. We can see off the bat it is completely stock. We can also see that it has the bi-xenon headlight package. You can see it sticking out a little bit out of the housing. See what else we can see on this car. Moving on to the interior, we can see standard black interior, nothing special going on here. We do also have the light wood trim. We can also see here that it has the keyless go, so a lot of good options here so far. Underneath, we can see hardly any rust at all, just surface rust on the engine, maybe a little bit on the diff itself, but nothing too crazy. And then looking at the front seats, we can see they look pretty decent as well. This is going to be a 2004, not a 2005 or 6, so you're not going to have the slidey panel here. You're going to have the hatch, and you can see already that this is suffering from somewhere not the best condition. This car, parking sensors, no parking sensors either. Let's see what he has to say. 2004 E55 AMG, 118,000 black over black. Cons, the rear headliner is sagging, exhaust leaks, front end PPF. Periodic check engine light for O2, ceramic coating and paint corrupted for a month. Lowering links, so it's not actually lowered with the air suspension as lowering links. New OEM alternator, serpentine belt, supercharger, pulley bearing, crankshaft pulley and seals redone. Valve cover gasket redone. Full transmission service done. New front struts along with all front suspension parts. So this car has been properly taken care of. How many miles does it have? 118,000. So you know, they did a lot of the preventative maintenance on this car, which is really good. So I can't knock them for that. I do like the way this car looks in all black. And the interior is actually pretty clean as well. Yeah, this is a 2004, so one of the best model years to get. The interior, I mean, it's pretty clean for what it is. It's not the cleanest in the world. Oh, excuse me. They're asking $17,500 for this example and has 118,000 miles. I'd say for me, being a black on black, which is one of the most desirable specs for me, I'd be willing to go up to $15,000 for this car. Cool. Moving on to Cargurus. Moving on to Autotrader, the next place we look at ads, we have one of the most expensive ones we've seen so far. This one is a 2006 last model year with only 13,000 miles. Let's take a look and see what we're working with here. What does a 13,000 mile E55 look like on the inside? You can see nowhere, anywhere we have the dark wood trim. This is going to be my favorite trim. Not even any not any Parktronic either. So this car doesn't have man, this car does not have Distronic or Parktronic. I don't know. I forget what the thing is called, man. I'm losing it. It's Friday. Yeah, I'm tired. You can see the massaging here. You can see, yep, no parking distance control. That's PDC. That's BMW stuff. No Parktronic, no Distronic. That's what it's called. You can see here it has a nav. Some blank buttons here. Not really a fan. Panoramic roof though, but again, this is a 2006, so no solar panel. Yeah, I mean, the silver example, most of these are going to be silver, black, or gray. This one has 13,000 miles, and they want 50 grand for it. You know what's crazy though? I don't think that this is far off for like what this car is worth. This car can go 0 to 60 in 4 seconds. It can go over 200 miles per hour. I mean, with the delimited tune, obviously, and yeah, and with a pulley, you can be making 600 horsepower and even more torque. So 200 miles per hour easy. I do believe that 50 grand, you know, if you're buying a brand new one, I'd say maybe if it was closer to like 4,000 miles, but 14,000 miles isn't bad. I'd say for me though, I mean, the max I paid for one of these is 40, but 40 is a lot of money, but I think it's worth it for these cars. These are very underrated cars. A shout out to you, Marjo. He said, hello from Albania. Hey, shout out to Albania. Shout out to Zerka. DJ Inferno, what's going on, man? Did you know that you won the $50? So hit me up. Yep, this is literally my top Benz. I mean, I don't know if it's my top Benz, but it's my most respected Benz. I really like this car, and I think this car is going to stand the test of time. Simply because it's built so stoutly with the gearbox, 5-speed, having a supercharged V8 as opposed to being twin turbo like they are now. Like, it's just really robust. And yeah, they're meant to handle power. But yeah, DJ Inferno, hit me up privately, or just hit me up in the Discord. You won the $50. I got to figure out how to give that to you. So yeah, for this one, 40 grand is where I'd be at. But again, that's probably the most I'd ever spend on something like this. But you're really getting a classic car when you think about it. Like, think about it. 40 grand for this, or 40 grand for what else is 40 grand? Like a really cheap Supra, like a naturally aspirated Supra, 40 grand, or you could get one of these. Yeah, hit me up on Instagram. That works too. Cool. Moving on to our next one. We have a 2003 example. This one is in Honolulu, Hawaii. The E55 bi-turbo. I actually really like the E55 bi-turbo. That one is really, or E55, E550 with the twin turbo. Wait. What are you talking about? Are you talking about, what year is that? I was about to say, I like the E550, the W211 E550, but I don't believe that was turbo. I think that just had a big V8. Anyway, looking at this one, this is a 2003, so first model year of the E55, low miles, 69,400 miles. Interior, we can see it has a light wood. Not really a fan, but it actually looks pretty clean. Again, it only has 69,000 miles, so it really should be clean. Has aftermarket wheels, which I'm not a fan of. Of course, you're gonna have to make sure that you can you're gonna have to make sure that the car comes with the original wheels if you want to pay what they're asking. They're really not asking that much for this car, being that it has such low miles. I guess because maybe it's located in Hawaii, so the market there is a little bit different than here. It's gonna cost a lot of money to get it over here, so they list for a little bit less. I'm not too sure though. 12.9 is really cheap for one of these, especially being one with under 70,000 miles. Granted, it is a 2003, so it's not gonna have all the bells and whistles that the rest of the model years have. But again, this is a really good car for the engine itself. You really buy this car for the platform, not for the options that you can get with it. I'd say for me, being that this is a 2003, it looks pretty clean. I mean, they didn't really say anything about the title or anything, so it might have something to do with the title. But we won't know unless we ask. I'd say for me, we're gonna take it at face value. It's a clean title. I'd be willing to go up to maybe $11,000, not too much lower than this, but 11,000 simply because it is a 2003. And yeah, if you can get this for 11,000 with under 70,000 miles, you can really sell that car for a lot in the future. It would be pretty collectible at some point. Moving on to our next one, we have another silver example. This one's going to be a 2005 with 105,000 miles. Off the bat, we can see it does not have the bi-xenon lights, and it does not have parking, and it does not have the Parktronic system. So it kind of looks like more of a base equipped car. Marjo said you can buy a C63 2014 for 40K. Yeah, you can. I was just kind of comparing it to an older car and kind of comparing it to a car that I think was not a good deal compared to this, which is a good deal. I'm saying for 40K, you're getting a brand new, pretty much, E55 AMG. For 40K, you can get a C63. I mean, it's probably not going to have too many miles. 40K is kind of a lot for a car like that. The C63, the W204, is definitely going to be a collector car in the future. So if you can get one for 40K and it has really low miles, I guarantee that car will be worth double that in 15 years when no one even knows what a naturally aspirated V8 is. Cool. Anyway, going back to this, we can see the paint is not too great on this car. Does not look like it's in the best condition cosmetically in general. You can see a lot of scuffs and dents on the bumpers. They drilled through the bumper as well to mount their plate. We can see a crack here too. Not the best condition car. 12 grand, they're asking, 105,000 miles. Let's see what he has to say about it. Owned the car for almost 2 years and needs something with more hauling capacity. I don't know, man. This thing hauls pretty well. This thing hauls. I don't know what you mean by more hauling capacity. I'm joking. Obviously, he wants a truck or something. But this thing hauls. I don't know. You can't fool me with this. This thing hauls. Anyway. You replaced the fuel pump, fuel filter, and fuel level sender. I replaced the front driver's strut and replace the transmission conductor plate. Okay, so a bunch of random things were put onto this. But it really doesn't have the best maintenance history. We can also tell by the photos that the car really wasn't taken care of. I mean, I guess he did some headers as well, maybe. He doesn't say. Oh yeah, headers. So the headers. I don't know if the headers are on the car or he just has them. The hood has been repainted previously and is not the best. To get the exterior back, the hood, yep, so it needs a new paint job. I'm not too sure if he has the headers on him or they're on the car themselves. But just based on condition alone, I really wouldn't want this. $12,000 are asking, 105,000 miles. I'd say for me, I'd be around the $8,000 mark. 8,500 at the max because the condition is so ass. And they don't really have any options that I really want on the car anyway. Cool, moving on to the next example. Oh man. Moving on to our next example, we have a black example. This one's 2005 with 125,000 miles and they're asking 18 grand for it. A lot more than the last ones we were looking at, but let's see why. I have a feeling it has something to do with condition. This one is just really nice. So we can see again, black car. It is really nice. It doesn't look bad at all. You can see it even has the plastic on the floor still. This is a 2005, so you have the roll-up center console, but we have the light wood. You know, light wood doesn't look too bad, but I really do prefer the dark wood. Again, this is a 2005, so you're going to have the upgraded speedometer with the 200 mile per hour readout as opposed to being 160 miles per hour. We can see this one has nav, but again, not really too fancy because most of them did come with nav. We can see down here, this one does not have keyless go, unfortunately. So keyless go would allow the driver to start the car with a button on the shifter. It does not have that, so no keyless go here. What else can we see about the car? Back seats look like they haven't been set in at all. This is just a really clean example. Something I'd probably want if I had the money. Looking underneath the hood, we can see that the engine bay is also very clean. This car is just a really clean example, especially for the miles. These cars hold up very well for the mileage, but this one specifically is really good. I'm trying to see if it does not have the HIDs, unfortunately, but it pretty much has everything else. See what the guys has to say. Selling my 2005 E-Class. E55 AMG, blah, blah, blah. Tells you some stats, some GPT stats. The car is 100% stock, never been raced, everything works, no leaks, no check engine light. Okay, that's good. So, I mean, the car is in good condition. That's basically what it says. Good condition car, not the most optioned car. I wish it had the bi-xenon lights. That's kind of a big thing for me. But it doesn't. We can price it accordingly though. 124,000 miles for a 2005 in really nice cosmetic condition. I'd be willing to go. 124 is kind of high. I'd be willing to go up to $15,000 simply because this is black on black and it's in really good condition. Then moving on to our last ad on Autotrader, we have a silver example. Let's take a look. We can see this one. It looks like it's on some aftermarket wheels. Not really too sure what those wheels are. Let's take a look at the pictures of the interior, see what we're working with in terms of spec. We can see here off the bat, no bi-xenon lights. The lights are flush with the housing. No parking sensors either. No Parktronic on this car. This is the 2006, so last model year. And again, as I mentioned before, the later the model years, the less options there were. So 2006 had the least amount of options. However, it was the most reliable platform for the car. Very clean example. We can see under the hood is very clean as well. You can see that 5.4 liter supercharged V8 in all its glory, looking very nice. Even the padding on the hood is still there. 79,000 miles, so the car isn't high mile at all. This is a really clean example. You can see here it also has keyless go. You can see the button on top of the starter so it can start the car. Hold on, I'm trying to see. Let me see something real quick. Yep. Okay, let's see what he has to say. This sledgehammer, 2006 E55 AMG, 5-speed, blah, blah, blah. Always garage. Pictures tell all you need to know. Check in, zoom in on other AMGs for sale. You see pretty much used. This one is immaculate. It does look really nice. I'll give him that. Always garage. All right. Said already. Newer tires, rarely driven. Engine looks and runs like new, blah, blah, blah. You're talking about the E550 the E550 with the bi-turbo, yes. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, those are sleepers too. If you get them tuned, they're pretty good. But it's no E55. They're not supercharged. I'm trying to read what else this has. Nothing really else. So just a really good condition car. One of the few in really good condition. Let's see again with the specs. No panoramic roof. Do we see the speakers? No. It's a 2006, so it should have a lot of like the technology stuff added. Like the speaker system. Yep, we can see it is a Harman Kardon speaker system. See Harman Kardon right here. So we have the upgraded speaker system. Other than that, really can't tell much. It's more based on the fact that this is pretty much fully loaded and without Parktronic and without Distronic. So 26.5 they're asking for, and it has 79,000 miles. I mean, it's nice. I'll give it that. It's a nice example. It's very clean. However, 27,000 is kind of a lot for a car with 80,000 miles. I'd say for me, being it has 80,000 miles, I'd be around the $23,000 to $24,000 mark. And that's simply because this is one of the nicest ones we've seen so far. And I do believe that low mile ones will go for a pretty penny. 22, yeah, I'll stick with, you know what, I'll say this over again. For this car being a 2006 and having 79,000 miles, I'd be willing to go up to $23,000. Cool. Moving on to the last place we look at ads, Cargurus. Our first example here is going to be a blue example. I really like this blue. You really rarely ever see a blue car. You can see here the sunroof. On the interior, we can see it's standard black interior with keyless go. We can see that right here. Looking here, I do not see any parking sensors. So, yep, no parking assist here, no Parktronic here, no Distronic, no Distronic cruise control here either. And see it has the massaging seats though. Very crucial option to have. Looking at the interior, I do believe, is this the blue interior? I think it's the blue interior. It looks like it. Right here we have the blue and black interior. Very rare option. Again, you either had the black, blue and black, or you had the blue, or you had the black and red, with the Dizino packages being something else. You can get those two with the white or the black, or I say the light or the dark Dizino interiors. But this one is going to have that blue and black interior. Super rare, super desirable, especially with the blue exterior. I think this really shines. Engine bay looks pretty clean too. You can see that 5.4 liter supercharged V8 looking pretty good. This is a 2005, so you're going to have the upgraded speedometer as well. You see it goes up to 200 miles an hour. What else can we see here? Do we see the doors at all? See if it's a Harman Kardon or not? We can't see it. It might. That might be a Harman Kardon logo right there, but I can't really tell. Yep, we can see Harman Kardon right here as well. So car is pretty much fully loaded except for Parktronic and Distronic. You have a really nice interior, and it's 2005. 136,000 miles. Are asking 17.9 for it. You know, it's not too bad for being a rare spec. If they elaborated more on the mechanical nature of the car, I'd be more comfortable paying a higher price. However, they don't really talk about what they've done to the car at all in terms of maintenance. So for me, I'd be willing to go up to $15,000 for this 2005 blue on blue example with 136,000 miles. Cool. All right, let's move on to the next one. We have a 2006 example. This one's going to be a 2006 E55 AMG with 125,000 miles. This one is going to be in silver off the bat. I think we already looked at this one, honestly. Maybe, maybe not. It looks familiar. Anyway, off the bat, we can see it does not have the bi-xenon headlight package, and it does not have Parktronic either. This is a 2006. Looks like it's going to be a 2006 with not that many options. Scrolling over, we can see the interior, no keyless go here. What else can we see? What else can we see? No keyless go, no Parktronic, no Distronic. So yeah, pretty much base. Not really anything crazy going on with this car, but I mean, yeah, I don't know why this price is this high. 25 grand. This guy must not actually understand what he has in terms of comparatively speaking to the rest of the market. 125,000 miles, and they're wanting 25 grand for it. I think this car is a solid $15,000 car. Yeah, 15. I'll go up to 16. I think for this car having 125,000 miles and being pretty much optionless, I'd be willing to go up to $16,000 for this example. And Speedy, or Super Speeder, I can't read. Speedster, Speedy says, what about the W2 110s? We're going over the W2 11s today, my friend. But the W2 110s are really good cars too. Oh, I'm sorry. And they do share the same name. Obviously, the E55 AMG, but these are going to be different simply because those are naturally aspirated, which takes away a huge chunk of why people love these cars. Those cars are really good in their own right for being just a really like old school feeling AMG. They're reliable too. They have a really stout powertrain. The W2110 also, I do like the styling of it, kind of better than this one. It looks a little bit more retro, it's more boxy. The W2110 looks nice. This one kind of looks just really mundane and just German sedan. Jeremy Clarkson said this car looks like a Honda, and I can't unsee it. It kind of looks like an Accord. I don't know, with the triangle lights maybe. But yeah, it kind of does look like an Accord from, like, if you take a really quick glance at it. So yeah, I don't know. You guys can tell me whether you think which one looks better, W2110 or W211. I think a W211 actually looks better. It has a more classy vibe to it. But the powertrain just isn't there when compared to this. This one has probably one of the best powertrains made by Mercedes. Yeah. And yeah, that is a fact. Anyway, moving on to our next example, we have a 2006, another 2006. This one's going to be silver. We can see it has the bi-xenon package. We can see the bi-xenon lights right here. They stick out a little bit, but no Parktronic. Scrolling through, we can see, what else can we see? This looks pretty clean so far. Interior, what do we have on the interior? Just standard black interior. We do have the massaging seats as well. This is a 2006, so you're going to have the roll-up center console. What else? No parking sensors, no Distronic, nothing going on here. Does it have keyless go? Are they never going to show the center console? Does it have keyless go? It does not have keyless go. That's probably why they didn't want to show it. So no keyless go on this car. No Parktronic, no Distronic. What else does it not have? No panoramic roof. Does it have the window shades? No window shades. This is what the spare tire looks like. So the original 03 did not come with the spare tire. However, the 04s to 06s did come with the spare tire, but it looks like this. Not really the most functional wheel, but it'll get you where you need to go. Yeah, not really too much going on with this car. Pretty basic if you ask me. 16.9 they're asking, and it has 144,000 miles. This is a 2006, so it's going to be probably one of the more desirable models simply because it's the newest one. But it has no it really doesn't have that many options. I'd say for me, I'd be willing to go up to 13.5 for this example, simply because it is a 2006, so I'll give it a little bit there. But other than that, it doesn't really have anything going for it. 13.5 is where I'd be at. And moving on to our final example of the day, we have a gray one. Not too many gray ones, but we see one here. This one is a 2006 as well, last model year. Let's see what we have going on in terms of the headlights off the bat. We can't really see it. They didn't really show it. Did they do that on purpose? I can't really tell. It looks like it might have the HID systems, but I can't see. On the interior, we can see it does have the parking sensors, but no Distronic. DJ Inferno said, this is when the Chrysler-Benz merger. Yep, exactly. If you're familiar, one of my favorite Chrysler-Benz mergers is actually the Chrysler Crossfire SRT6. My friend had one of those, and it had he had a valved exhaust where it just dumped straight out of the headers basically, and that car sounded insane. A supercharged V6, yeah, and it was a Chrysler Crossfire. No one ever knew what it was. They were so surprised with it. Yeah, the Chrysler Crossfire was a good car. The SLK is a good car. Very underrated car. It's just too small for me. Yep. Let's see. Going back to this one, we can see this one has the keyless go system. As I mentioned, Parktronic as well, but no Distronic. I don't think any of these cars are Distronic. This is a 2006, so we can see it also has the upgraded speedometer, 200 miles an hour. Scrolling down, what else can we see? No window shades here. We got some parts going on back here. Okay, so they upgraded the supercharger pipes. Got some upgrades going on here. Not really too sure what they have. Maybe they listed it later. But other than that, yeah, I don't really see much going on with this car. I mean, it's 2006, so last model year. It has 155,000 miles, and they're asking 15 grand for it. You know, that's a little bit high for me. 155,000 miles. I think it should be a little bit lower. Granted, I mean, given the fact that it doesn't have, you know, a ton of options. It does have keyless go, which is good. It does have the parking sensors, but there are some other options that I'd like to see, such as, you know, the you know, some window shades, something to give it a little bit more luxury, as well as having a darker wood trim. Also, I couldn't really see the seats. No, it has a massaging seat, so we're good on there. I'm trying to see also the Harman Kardon. I don't believe this one has the Harman Kardon system. Wait, no, it does. It does have the Harman Kardon system. So it has some good options here. Not the most optioned out, but it has some of the necessary stuff. Again, it is a 2006, so it's not going to have all the options that were available. For example, for the 04 and earlier, and some of 05. 14.9, they're asking 155,000 miles. I say for me, I'd be around the $13,800 mark. I think that's pretty close. Actually, I say for me, I'd be around the $13,000 mark. 155,000 is creeping up a little bit. He said 10K. Yeah, 10K for this. If you got it for 10K, that would be a really good deal. You know, there aren't that many for sale. As I mentioned, how many are for sale right now? 17 are for sale, and that's including the W2 110. So if I do, man, okay, so we have, I'm just going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so we have probably like 10 for sale. Hey, shout out to Clean Whips in the chat. What is going on, man? Clean Whips in the building. But yeah, super speedy. I agree with you. Yeah, the W2 110 is definitely better looking. Let's actually take a look at one real quick. You can see this one looks like it's on some AMG monoblocks as well. So this one, it just looks so much meaner. This one has such a classic look, especially with the, I mean, chrome monoblock specifically. Yeah, this one looks so much more gangster. The new one looks like a corporate shuttle. This one is a boss car. Let's see what the interior looks like. One thing I always notice about this interior, I don't know if you guys have noticed, this is just the one thing that stands out to me, is the dash is the shortest dash I've ever seen in any car. They're actually gonna, man, okay. So not too many pictures there, but the dashboard in a W210 is just so short. Man, they don't really want to show it. They show, wow, how many pictures of the dash are you gonna show without showing it? Holy crap. All right. Wow, a lot of nonsense pictures with that one. Let's look at this one. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't put the AMG monoblocks on the new E55. That would have been really tough. I don't know why they didn't do that. Come on, none of these have pictures. Yeah, this car is an epic car. But yeah, you can see how short the dash is. It's like literally like 3 or 4 inches long. It's like this big. That was the one thing I noticed from my friend's W210. He didn't have an E55 though. But yeah, this interior is very reminiscent of the W140 S-Class. It looks so good. Classic. Very classic. You know, a lot of people who aren't really into the classics will think this looks ugly, but I think this looks perfect. This looks so good. And yeah, the wheels make this car, honestly. This wheels, the AMG monoblocks. Yeah, this thing is so mean. But that pretty much wraps it up. Going back to the W211. I highly recommend getting a 2004 or later. It really doesn't matter 2004 or later, just all comes down to preference. I don't recommend getting a 2003 simply because you're not going to have, you know, the nicer options. You're not going to have any nav. Of course, the nav isn't completely necessary. None of these navs are. The cars are aging to a point where, you know, that technology is just kind of a burden, or it's cumbersome to use. So I just like the way it looks. The screen looks nice there, even though it's turned off. I like that. So for me personally, I have to have nav, so I have to get a 2004 Plus. You want to make sure that you get the good speaker system. You also want to make sure you get, I think keyless go is a good feature to have, simply because it's very convenient, brings the car into a more modern era. But again, that does lead to more problems. The keyless go system is something that breaks consistently on these cars, whether that be the starter in the push button, or that be the keyless go door handles. They fail. So if you don't want to deal with those problems, you don't have to. Don't get a keyless go car. What else? Actually, hold on, let me bring up the options list, that way I can for me, I want one with Parktronic, but again, the only thing I don't like about it is the little marks it makes on the bumpers. I think the dimples look ugly, but again, that's little things. I like the Parktronic system. It's very handy. Distronic, I didn't see a single car with Distronic today, so I don't think it's going to be that easy to find a car with Distronic. And it's an early version of radar cruise control, so it's probably not going to be the most functional. So you're not missing out on much by not getting that. I also recommend getting the bi-xenon headlight package. Again, the way to tell is basically the headlight housing sticks out a little bit inside as opposed to being flush. It's easy to see. This one looks like it does not have it, but let's see. Do any of these have it? Yeah, this one has it. You can see it sticks out about an inch. So definitely get the bi-xenon headlight package. We didn't see any Xenos either. So also look out for the Xeno interiors. Yep, exactly. Speeder says more bells and whistles, more problems. Exactly. I like all the features that keyless go brings, but that is gonna, the door handles are gonna be a pain to replace. Same thing with the button if that fails. Yeah, so a lot of the cars are optioned without keyless go. So if you don't want that, you are able to find one for you. Other than that, I think that pretty much covers it in terms of options and stuff to look out for. Yeah, with the problems, again, there's a bunch of different problems. I highly suggest just getting a PPI for one of these. It's going to save you a lot of efforts because, yeah, of course, one thing is either going to be one thing or another in terms of the problems. Let's see. This is, let's just bring out the problem list real quick. So you're going to have that coolant transmission fluid mix issue with the 03 models. You have the rust around the wheel arches, so definitely check for rust. Crankshaft position sensor, so that'll show itself based on codes, or just basically the car is not running right. Oil level sensor seal, you just want to make sure that the car is not leaking. Yeah, the plug cats and supercharger clutch, exactly. The cats I forgot to mention here, but cats are always going to be a problem for older cars like this, especially you know, cars that just use a lot of fuel. They're dumping a lot of stuff into the cats. Yeah, you want to make sure that the cats are good. And what else here? Oil level or intercooler pump failure. So as I mentioned before, the pump fails and then you won't have basically any power because the car will detune itself because the engine intake temperature will be way too hot. What else can I say? Aromatic issues, strut or compressor failure. That's going to be common with Mercedes air suspension systems. So just make sure that the struts or compressor or the whole system has been looked at and at the very least looked at. Hopefully replaced at some point. Harmonic balancer, same thing. Harmonic balancer, supercharger clutch pulley, or supercharger clutch, the supercharger pulley, all those things need to be in working order. If your harmonic balancer is out, it's going to make a rattling noise. And if it fails, if your pulley fails, you could damage your timing system simply because it's right there. Engine mounts as well. You want to make sure the engine mounts are good. Just check to see if the car is rocking or the engine is rocking in the engine bay. It's easy to see. And then obviously the brake control module, the SBC pump, it was recalled, but you want to make sure that it works properly. You want to make sure that they took care of the recall and it was done as well. Thrust arm bushings, yeah. I mean, yeah, you can say those too. Suspension is definitely going to be a thing on these cars. They're not the lightest cars and they are very powerful. So suspensions are definitely, suspension parts are definitely going to be a consumable item on these cars, and you definitely want to check to make sure when you're driving them that it doesn't have any clunks, especially at low speeds. Rear main seal, yeah, we can mention every single thing because I'm pretty sure that every single oil leak has happened on this car. You can say everything: valve covers, oil pan, oil filter, gasket, rear main seal, front seal, transmission, everything. You want to make sure it's all good. Just get a PPI. PPIs are really good if you're dealing with cars that are high strung, high performance cars. You want to make sure that is looked after or looked over by a professional and put up on a lift. The biggest part about a PPI is that they put it up on a lift and then you can actually test the suspension, see any leaks and stuff like that. That's the biggest part of the PPI, is actually being able to walk underneath, in my opinion. I think you can look at all the stuff on top yourself, but PPIs are definitely needed if you don't have a lift. Yeah, Speedy, I can't even say your name. Speedster Speedy says, a great car, just hope not overused. Yeah, you'll see, we looked at a ton of examples today. Some of them were really good condition and a few of them were really beat. So you want to make sure that you get the ones that are in really good condition. Most of them are going to be really good condition because people love these cars, and really you only find the beat ones. Those are going to be the super high mile ones. You really want to just avoid that anyway. Hey, Speedy, join the Discord. Hit the link in the bio and join the Discord. And yeah, shout out to DJ Inferno again. He won the $50 today. So if you join the Discord, you're eligible to win $50. I do drawings probably about every 2 or 3 weeks or so. So DJ Inferno won today. And it was crazy is DJ Inferno has been the main one super chatting. So shout out to DJ Inferno. He got his karma back. So yeah, shout out to you, man. I'll hit you up after this and we'll get you that $50. Getting one done on the GX470. What are you talking about? The suspension or the PPI? Yeah, definitely get a PPI. Yeah, shout out to DJ Inferno, man. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for today. What else? What else? Let's see the schedule for next week. Next week we are going back into next week we're going back into SUV mode. So going you know, shout out to who got that thing, maybe. I can't even read. Yeah, shout out to DJ Inferno and his GX470. We're going to be going over some more SUVs next week. So on Monday, we're going to be going over the Hummer H1. So that should be interesting. We're not going to be doing Humvees. We're only going to be doing the Hummer H1s, the civilian ones that actually are like cars on the inside, because Humvees are super cheap. You can get them wherever, but they're not real cars. Those are more like, in my mind, that's like almost like an ATV or like a side-by-side type of deal. Like that's what it's used for. It's just for taking around for fun. It's not a real car. But we're going to be going over the real Hummer H1s. I forget the brand. It's like a special name for them. Oh, let me just look it up. Hummer H1 Alpha? I don't know. Well, I can't remember off the top of my head. Alpha, yeah, Alpha. I think that's what it's called. Alpha is the civilian one. Anyway, we'll get to all that on Monday. I hope you guys have a great weekend. If you don't have any more questions, I'm gonna head out. It's almost time to eat for me. I'm starving. So, yeah, if you guys don't have anything left, shout out to the 6 people that made it this far into the video. Shout out to you guys. An hour and 20 minutes in, and you're still here. And yeah, I showed you guys the camera and everything. Yep, we're gonna get started. I'm gonna edit the Mustang video finally. It's gonna come out this weekend, I promise. I did a review for a 2024 EcoBoost Mustang that I just never uploaded. I'm also gonna film the LS430 video. I'm gonna, because I was fixing everything. I had a flat tire this past weekend, and so I had an RX rim on my car for the longest time, because for some reason when I bought my car it came with an RX wheel as a spare tire, so I was using that. So I finally got my tires, so they're all matching now. So I'm gonna film the LS430 review. It's gonna be a really comprehensive review. This is gonna be the reviews, the buyer's guides reviews of buyer's guides / reviews. I'm going to be comparing it facelift, pre-facelift. I'm going to be comparing all the trim levels. I'm going to be talking about the driving characteristics, everything. And so that should be a good video. A lot of people know me from the LS430 community because that's what I'm, I guess, most popular for. But dang, Speedy, you have Speedster Speedy, you have 3 W2110s. Dang. So yeah, you are a fanatic. Do you have an E55 though? Yeah, ultra luxury. It's funny. So I'll just say this. I had an ultra luxury pre-facelift LS430. It was great. It was VIP'd out, completely VIP'd, like VIP build. It was dope. For my new one, I have a facelifted LS430. It is an ML, so it's a base model, no VIP, and I love this car a lot more. It doesn't have any problems. It rides amazing. It's smooth. My last one had knock sensor issues. Dang, you have a 320, 430, and E55. That is a sweet lineup. You have to join the Discord and post a picture of them lined up. I want to see that. Yeah, so join the Discord real quick and then put some pictures in there. And if you are like, yeah, if you're in the Discord, I want to see what you guys drive. Let me see the cars. I'll post up mine too. But yeah, let's talk about cars in the Discord more often. Shout out to the 7 people, man. Y'all are joining at the end of the show. Yeah, if you've joined at the end of the show, welcome. But I'm about to leave because, yeah, this is the end of the show. But yeah, man, super speed. I keep calling you super speeder. Speedster Speedy. God dang. How much for the timing belt? Well, the kit is like $200, and then they'll probably charge you like $400 or $500 for install, depending on who does it. Yeah, so it could be running you about $500 to $700 if you bring all the parts yourself. If you have them do it themselves and they order the parts, it's probably going to be running about $1,000. The prices are kind of going up. The last time I did a timing belt job myself was for my pre-facelift LS430, and yeah, and water pump. That's why I always get the kit. I always get the ASIN kit. It comes with the belt, the water pump, all the hardware and everything. Oh, nice. You used to install the tech into those cars back in the day. That's sweet. But yeah, what I was gonna say is that when I actually had them install, I don't think they charged me correctly for my install. They I bought the kit, gave the kit. Back then the kit was like $160. They charged me $50 for the install. I don't know if they forgot to add an extra 0 because they had like a card machine. They were just entering it in. They charged me $50. So I don't know what the price is for a timing chain water pump job right now, but I'm assuming it's around $700 to $1,000 all in. So you definitely want to call around and get some quotes though. And rear main's easy money. Yeah, I bet. You charge big money for a rear main. All you got to do is just drop the transmission and just redo it. Yeah. Anyway, that pretty much wraps it up. I will see you guys on Monday with the Hummer H1. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and shout out to the people that were here today in the chat. Shout out to Speedster Speedy participating in the chat on his first time. Yeah, we've been doing this 84 episodes now. Been going usually 5 days a week. 8-hour job. Wow. Yeah, it is easy money. But yeah. All right, guys. I'll see you guys on Monday. Hummer H1. Hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. As always, peace. Have a good one. Be safe.